Hi everybody, welcome to Tech Growth Stocks channel. Today I bring you 5 new top disruptive stocks. These have very strong momentum and they also have good growth characteristics. So these are, as I think, definitely stocks to focus on right now. Before I start right off with the first stock, I have to make a short disclaimer. This video does not constitute financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only, so please consider that. Okay, everybody, so that was it for the intro. Let's start right off with the first top disruptive stock. And as you can see, it is ZS, Zscaler. Here you can see the longer term chart of Zscaler, and as you can see, it was an IPO in March 2018. After its IPO, it had here a nice IPO base, broke to the upside, formed a new base, could break out here, trade to the upside, and then so it had let's say a nice uptrend from its IPO till July 2019. Then it broke down, had a consolidation, and this year, together with a Corona breakdown, could trade to the upside from the Corona lows in Zscaler and form a nice and new uptrend, which is looking good. The short-term chart here, you see an uptrend, and recently we have been base building here for Zscaler, but we could break out from that base on the last earnings date strongly. We had an earnings gap, and now we are up in Zscaler. Zscaler's growth characteristics are excellent. The EPS growth is very strong with 450%. The sales growth is also strong with 43%. And the relative strength rating is good with 94. So I think that Zscaler is definitely a top disruptive stock. And not to forget, it's also in a hot sector, in the tech software sector. So I think it's looking excellent. Okay, everybody. So that was it for Zscaler. Let's have a look at the next top disruptive stock, and it is PINS, Pinterest. Here you can see the longer term chart of Pinterest, and as you can see, it's been a recent IPO. It was an IPO in April 2019. After its IPO, here we had a down move in Pinterest. We made a low in March last year and could reverse and trade to the upside and form a nice and new uptrend in Pinterest. Pinterest, in the short-term chart, you see a nice uptrend, nice, very strong and accelerating uptrend in Pinterest. Pinterest's growth characteristics, the EPS growth is not the strongest, it's minus 62%, but the sales growth is good with 31%. And the relative strength rating is also very good with 95. And it's in a hot sector in the interactive media or communication services sectors. So I think Pinterest is definitely a top disruptive stock. Okay, everybody. So that was it for Pinterest. Let's have a look at the next top disruptive stock, and it is PACB. Pacific Biosciences. Here you can see the longer term chart of Pacific Biosciences, and as you can see, it has been quite volatile. But this year, let's say after this down move here, we could break out this year around August in Pacific Biosciences and form a nice and new and very strong uptrend. The short-term chart here, you see that breakout and you see that new strong uptrend. And recently here we could bounce off the moving averages around the 40-day moving averages strongly, and here we traded strongly, and recently we traded strongly to the upside. Pacific's growth characteristics. The EPS growth is minus 16%, so it's not the strongest, and the sales growth is also not the strongest. It's minus 22%, but the relative strength rating is good with 94, and it's in a hot sector in the medical diagnostics and devices sector, which has been a leading sector for quite some years now. So I think Pacific Biosciences is definitely a top disruptive stock. Okay, everybody, so that was it for Pacific Biosciences. Let's have a look at the next top disruptive stock, and it is DOCU, DocuSign. Here you can see the longer term chart of DocuSign, and as you can see, DocuSign was an IPO in April 2018. After its IPO, it formed a nice IPO base here, and it could break out around September last year. It could break out of that IPO base around September last year. And after that, it traded strongly to the upside and formed a nice and strong uptrend. The short-term chart here, you see an uptrend. You can see as well we have been base building in DocuSign and moving sideways, and as well we recently had earnings in DocuSign last week, and we had an earnings breakout. DocuSign's growth characteristics, the EPS growth is not the strongest, it's -7%, but the sales growth is very good with 42%. And the relative strength rating is also very good with 95. And DocuSign is in a hot sector, in the tech software sector. So I think it's definitely a top disruptive stock. Okay, everybody, so that was it for DocuSign. Let's have a look now at the last top disruptive stock for today. And it is TWLO. Here you can see the longer term chart of Twilio. And as you can see, Twilio was an IPO in June 2016. After its IPO, it moved to the upside, but had a strong correction here. As you can see, corrected, but could break out from these lows around March 2018 and form a nice and strong uptrend since then. Here you can see as well, we had a breakdown in July 2019 in Twilio, a breakdown or let's say a volatile sideways down move, and we made a low this year in March, and Twilio could reverse from that low and trade to the upside and form a nice new uptrend in Twilio. The short-term chart here, you see that uptrend, and recently we have been base building, we broke out, and now looks like we want to make a new base here in Twilio. Twilio's growth characteristics, the EPS growth is 11%, and the sales growth is very strong with 49%, and the relative strength rating is also very good with 94. And Twilio is in a hot sector in the interactive media and communication services sectors. So I think Twilio is definitely a top disruptive stock. Okay, everybody, so these were the top disruptive stocks for today. This was part 2 of the top disruptive stocks. If you missed part 1, please have a look at my channel or have a look below. There I have another couple of top disruptive stocks with excellent momentum and good growth characteristics. So have a look at that video if you are interested. And please subscribe now to my channel. I make videos like these all the time, and I have many sector videos and many momentum videos about top stocks. So subscribe now so that you do not miss any of these videos. Okay, thank you for watching. And if you liked that video, please give it a thumbs up. This would help me very much. So I hope to see you again soon in the future. Take care and cheers.